Make sure that you are using this opportunity halfway through the year, at the end of June, to optimize your environment to better support your goals. And at this point, look, nothing should be sacred, right? This is not the time for saying things like, well, this is the way we've always done it, okay? Be willing to reassess everything, to look at the process and ask yourself, where do I need more structure in my systems? And where do I need more flexibility? Hi, I'm Chris LeBrun, your host of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. As someone who's never been afraid of dreaming big and going for it all, I often find myself with a lot on my plate. I'm a husband and father, a nonprofit fundraiser, and an entrepreneur. What I've realized is my view of productivity was pretty toxic. After decades of believing that in order to do more, you had to work harder, I began to see productivity as this beautiful thing. Holistic productivity is the idea that you can accomplish your professional, personal, and purpose-driven goals in a healthy way, and doing so will make you happier and more fulfilled. Join me each week as we break down myths about productivity, share practical tips for maximizing your time, energy, and focus, and hear from others about their productivity journey. This is the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. Hello and welcome to episode number 15 of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast. My name is Chris LeBrun. I am your host. I'm a productivity coach, and I'm just so glad that you are here for this episode. I say it all the time, but I know you could be listening to a lot of other podcasts right now. You could be doing a lot of other things, but you are here, you are learning, you are growing, and you are trying to achieve your goals. And I'm excited for you in that process. Thank you so much for being here. If you have not subscribed to the show, if you just sort of stumbled upon this show, we do this every week. So make sure that you are subscribed on all of the major podcast platforms. We also air on YouTube, so you can watch there if you would like. But make sure that you subscribe and follow so that you do not miss a single episode. This is going to be a fun episode. It's going to go fast. It's not long, but it is important. If you look at your calendar right now, we are in the last week of June, and I know that this is going to be hard for many of us to believe, but the year is about half over. I'm just going to let you process that for a minute. We are almost halfway through with 2025. So the question I have for you today is, how are you doing on your goals for the year? Now, I'm not talking about New Year's resolutions. I know that ship has sailed, right? We are long overdue with our New Year's resolutions. And if you've listened to this podcast from the very beginning, you know I've talked about how New Year's resolutions don't last. But that doesn't mean that setting annual goals is not important. So why do we do that? Why do we set annual goals? Well, this is a nice midpoint between your short-term goals, which would be 1 to 3 months, and your long-term goals, which would be 3 to 5 years. So it's a great sort of middle ground where we can assess, we can look at what's happening. Those of us in the business world, this is sort of a natural window that is aligned with our fiscal year. So we have fiscal year goals. We set fiscal budgets for the year. And so again, a lot of times it's just natural and logical to have goals set up around those budgets so that we can plan for the year. You need to be really careful if you are in a business where a lot of your revenue comes at the end of the year. We know that people are out there buying a lot of holiday gifts in that last few months of the year, and in December especially. So if you know that your sales patterns increase, make sure that you are keeping that in mind. Same thing happens in fundraising. We can have 50 to 60% of our revenue for the year coming in that last quarter of the year, maybe even 25, 30% in the month of December. So as you're looking at your annual goals, it's important to be aware of when that happens. But I like to use the end of June as a time to reset my goals. And reset is an acronym. So each letter stands for something that you should be doing here at this midpoint of the year to make sure that you are on track for reaching your annual goals. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at reset and what that process looks like, what that framework is. We start off with R. R is to reflect on your progress. Start by looking back at the year so far to see what you have already accomplished. Take time to celebrate those wins. I mean, hopefully you have been doing that as the wins occur. You've been taking time out to celebrate. So it doesn't have to be a big thing right now, but it's nice to acknowledge those wins that you had and to help keep you going through the mid-year, through the rest of the year. It's also important to see what goals you have missed accomplishing or what you are behind on. It's important to be honest with yourself at this point. Lying does not help. It makes you feel better for about half a second, but you know when you're lying to yourself. Just like we do with detours in our daily process of things that have distracted us, look for ways to mitigate your missed goals for the future. Try to learn from them. Don't just try to cover them up and pretend that they didn't happen. Use those as a learning opportunity. What's that saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? We don't want to be in that situation where we're going to be fooled twice because of our own inability to reflect and assess and to see what is happening and how we can avoid that in the future. Other questions to ask yourself in this reflect step. Was there anything that surprised you in the first half of the year? These can be things that are both good or bad, but just is there something that surprised you in the first half of the year? And what were your biggest areas of growth? If you can identify those, try to do more of that in the second half of the year. Let's pause here for a quick break. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by Efficient.app. Big shout out to Alex and Andra from Efficient.app for sponsoring the Wholistic Productivity Podcast from the very beginning. We love that. When you are looking for new software, Efficient.app is the place to go. They have already done all the research for you, which saves you the headache of doing a trial of every single app you want to look at. They offer hundreds of product reviews and comparison videos that are informative and fun to watch. Want to hear how Motion stacks up against Monday.com or Asana or ClickUp? They have a review for that. Here's what I love. They promise no BS software reviews. They tell you exactly what they love and what they don't love. And best of all, they have negotiated special deals, discounts, or even extended trial periods for a bunch of different products. If you're going to look for software, do yourself a favor and let Efficient.app do the work for you. Click on the link in the show notes. That's the best way to get there because you'll let them know that you appreciate them sponsoring the Wholistic Productivity Podcast as well. Check them out, Efficient.app. The link in the show notes. You won't regret it. So we move on to E. E is for evaluate your goals. A lot can happen in 6 months, right? Has the market environment changed? Do you have to pivot as a result of those changes? If your business relies on imports or exports, a lot has probably changed for you in the first 6 months of 2025. So look at your goals for the rest of the year and ask yourself, are they still relevant? Are they still realistic? If your goals have changed, it's not a failure. It's an evolution. And it would be silly, stupid even, not to evolve with your goals. I want to say that again. If your goals have changed, it is not a failure. It is a natural evolution of the business process of refining, of your personal life being refined and evolving. So embrace those, but make sure that you take time to revise and reschedule or remove goals that are no longer aligned with your values or your long-term goals, you certainly want to remove those goals that are no longer aligned with your goals for the rest of the year. So again, make sure that you are evaluating. Let's go back. So far, we have reflected on our progress and we have evaluated our goals for the rest of the year. S in the reset framework is for setting new intentions. This is your chance to reconnect with your why. Always important to do that. Always important to know why you are doing things. You can use the first two steps that we've taken as part of the reset process, reflect and evaluate, to set new intentions. Determine what new goals need to be added to address the new realities, to compensate for where we are in our timeline with our goals. That could be either ahead of schedule or a little bit behind schedule, but we just want to compensate and reassess where we are. Maybe it's not new goals. Maybe it's new timelines. Maybe there's a new order to the goals that you had and you're just kind of shifting priorities around. Decide what you are willing and able to commit to for the rest of the year and set that new intention to be able to do that by December 31st. Our second E stands for energize your systems. Here's the truth. If your systems are broken, reaching your goals will be that much harder. Not saying that you can't do it, but systems help us in reaching our goals. So take a hard look at everything that you are using, everything that is part of your productivity system. You want to look at your routines and habits. You want to look at your workflows. Are you doing a Sunday strategy planning session? Have you built out goal roadmaps for your goals so that you know that you are on track and what you need to prioritize? What software are you using? What planner are you using? Again, I would highly recommend the Wholistic Productivity Planner. We think that's the best one out there. But what is the system that you use to keep yourself organized? What does your support team look like? That's your support system. Make sure that you are using this opportunity halfway through the year, at the end of June, to optimize your environment to better support your goals. And at this point, look, nothing should be sacred, right? This is not the time for saying things like, well, this is the way we've always done it, okay? Be willing to reassess everything, to look at the process and ask yourself, where do I need more structure in my systems? And where do I need more flexibility? Those are two very important questions to ask yourself as you energize your systems for the second half of the year. Okay, let's see where we are. So halfway through the year, we are doing a reset for our goals. And so far, we've talked about reflect on your progress, evaluate your goals for the second half of the year. You're going to set new intentions and you are going to energize your systems as you make this final push. So the only thing left to do in the reset framework, T is for take action. I mean, it's that simple. Get off the couch. You know what you need to do. It's time to go do it. If you set up goal roadmaps for your goals, you know your milestones. You know your action steps. You can start putting the plan into action. That's what's going to move you to achieving your goal. I know this sounds like such a simple thing, but you would be surprised how many times we miss this part. We know what we need to do, but we just don't do it. I know that if I want to get better at running, I have to train regularly. If I want to make more sales, I need to attract more potential customers. I need to make more sales calls, or I need to develop new products. If I want to retire early, I know I need to save more money and maximize my investments. These things are so simple and easy, but we often miss the taking action part. We do great at planning. We don't do so well at taking action. And that's why having a coach is so vital. It helps you to have the right mindset, and it provides that level of accountability that you are taking action, that you are doing the things that you need to do. It's easy for some of us to plan. Doing things becomes a lot more difficult. So the final step in the reset process is to take action. And what I want you to do is just use this time here at the end of June as an opportunity to check in on your goals and make it more than a checkpoint. This is an opportunity to be a pivot point. Using the reset framework that I've just laid out here, you can reconnect with your goals and move forward with clarity and purpose as we get down to the end of the year so that you can have a successful year. One more time, the reset process that I've been talking about today: reflect on your progress, evaluate your goals, set new intentions, energize your systems, and take action. I hope that's what you will do somewhere here in the next few days, in the next week or so, as we are at the midpoint of 2025. And when you do that, I believe you will be in a better place to have success here at the end of the year. That's it for the show today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. We're going to put the framework in the show notes, so make sure you go check that out. holisticproductivity.com/15. The show notes will be there. Make sure you're subscribed. Again, favorite or follow or like, subscribe, whatever it is on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. We are there with a new episode every single Tuesday, and you do not want to miss next Tuesday. I've got a treat for you. This may be the most exciting episode yet coming up next week. It is our first episode with a guest. So watch social media this week. You can find out who that is, who's coming on the show. But I guarantee you, you will not want to miss it. I mentioned social media. We are all over your favorite social media platforms at Wholistic Productivity on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can find us all over the place. If you like the show and you find it valuable, I would appreciate if you just rate the show, leave us a review, give us 5 stars. This is not for me or my ego, but it just helps other people find the show a lot easier, helps them reach their goals as well. That's what we're trying to do with this podcast. You know, my goal with this show is to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time. Before I sign off, close your eyes for a minute, unless you're driving. But close your eyes and imagine this. It's Friday. You're excited for the weekend. TGIF, right? You're wrapping up the work week, getting ready to leave the office. But as you're walking out the door, you start to reflect on the week and you say, what did I even accomplish this week? It's a frustrating feeling and a horrible way to start your weekend. You know that you've worked hard all week, but you have little or nothing to show for it. If you've ever had these feelings at the end of your week, I have a special offer for you to help you on your productivity journey. I talk about it all the time. Being intentional with your time is one of the biggest parts of productivity. And one of the best ways you can be intentional is to plan your week. Planning your week provides clarity on your priorities. It eliminates confusion about what needs to be done, and it sets you on a path for success. Now, I've developed the perfect tool to help you plan your week. I call it my Sunday strategy, and I want to give you my Sunday strategy worksheet and guide absolutely free when you sign up for my weekly newsletter. The guide offers clear strategies for using the principles of holistic productivity to plan your week. You'll have a mindset shift away from the toxic aspects of productivity, and you'll get step-by-step directions for using the Sunday strategy worksheet. With My Sunday Strategy, you only need 15 minutes each Sunday to plan out your entire week. It'll let you identify major projects and tasks that are coming up, assign those projects to specific days, and best of all, there are different sections for each area of your life: professional, personal, and purpose-driven, so you can reach all of your goals. My Sunday Strategy worksheet also includes a weekly habit tracker to keep you focused on the habits that you want to develop. So if you want to avoid those Friday feelings of frustration and despair, you need My Sunday Strategy worksheet. It's the perfect planning tool to help you build the winning strategy for your week. It's a resource you can come back to each day to keep you focused on reaching your goals, and it's an accountability tool to help you track your progress. Basically, it can help you have the most productive week ever. Like I said, it is completely free when you sign up for my weekly newsletter, which also features more strategies and tips to help you dream big, plan smart, and live fully. To get My Sunday Strategy worksheet and guide, go to mysundaystrategy.com and sign up. That's mysundaystrategy.com. There will also be a link in the show notes, but again, mysundaystrategy.com. Look forward to having you back here for the next episode of the Wholistic Productivity Podcast.